I just got the live on YouTube thing.
Shush, E. Quiet on the set.
Oh,
People are going to
sorry.
hear this. It's going to sound weird. God damn you, E. You heard Travis say quiet on the set. Why would you be yapping like that? You're going to sound like a fool. Are you drinking beer, by the way?
No.
Oh, my God.
I haven't even been drinking that much, but when I'm up here, I just feel like having a beer, I guess.
Yeah. I think we're still supposed to be quiet on the set, E. I'm not sure, but
well, you
We're
asked me a
live.
question.
We're live and we're streaming.
I don't see any viewers. Did everyone give up on us already?
Guess
Well, I mean,
so.
it's Saturday night. I mean,
Yeah, people are out cruising, partying, huh, E?
well, they opened up the boats today, so people might be on the
Should-
lake. To be honest with you,
Should I see viewers or where they are or anything like that?
here, let me look on Facebook myself.
Here, look on your phone. You got 23. Say hi, everyone.
Oh, hi, everybody. Welcome to the show with Mike. Shalom, Biggie. Hello, Travis. Travis joining us again.
Hello.
Thank you, Trav, for being here. Hello. Say hello to everyone, Isis.
Hello. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. Yes, it's 95 degrees where I am right now. So I don't know what it's like in Detroit.
I'd rather have 50 and sunny than 90, but whatever.
It's a dry heat, E.
Of course.
The famous dry heat. It's not too bad, actually. But what was it like? I know you guys were like, hey, whatever you do, Mike, Friday's out. It's going to be beautiful weather. And I was like, all right, gentlemen, we'll take Friday and not do anything, which we did. So did it pan out, or was Michigan with its weather?
No, it was good. I think I did a bonfire in the end.
Yeah.
So I think Travis did too.
Same, yeah. That was great.
It wasn't
Nice.
perfect. Of course, it got a little windy and chilly, but it was good.
Yeah. Very good, very good. Lot going on in the world, most of it coronavirus related. And we'll get to some of that stuff. The draft going on. Finally, I guess that counts as live sports, right?
Sure.
In a way, you never know who's going to pan out and who's not. But yeah, anyway, welcome to the show, everybody. I do have an update on Marshall, little Marshy Marsh here, who when we were checking in, he had tested positive for the antivirals or whatever that your body generates when it's trying to fight off something like COVID-19. And so it was like, oh shit, we were in a panic. He's got coronavirus, blah, blah, blah. I was kind of hoping for that, because if we all just get it and then move on with life, I'd be better with that. Even though if anyone's going to die in this house, it's probably going to be me. I was willing to roll the dice on that. So they said it was 98.7% accurate. He doesn't have shit.
Ha!
So after all that, they're
That's
like,
interesting.
Yeah,
So he had the antibodies, but he doesn't have it.
He does not have coronavirus, which makes sense. Like I was telling you guys, he hasn't left the damn house in 6 weeks.
Right.
And so it would have been like one of us bringing it in on our shoes or a package that was mailed to the house. But
that story, that was enough for me, by the way, that the next day when I was almost going to go out and get something, like, dude, I'm not even going to walk into this gas station. If Marshall could get it and he didn't leave the house, what am I doing?
yeah. Well, it made for some tense moments around here. But yeah, he doesn't have it.
Any yelling arguments?
No argument. And we just reserved like, okay, well, what do you do? You can't quarantine a 5-year-old, right? Like he's 5, so you can't just like stick him in a room. We've been around, and you know, I couldn't go anywhere. I was like, because the discussion was, well, what do we do with Mike? He's got compromised immune system. At least it was certainly a few weeks ago. And it was like, well, I can't drive to California. No one there wants me. I can't drive back to Detroit right now. I don't even know if it's legal. Could I legally drive back to my house in Detroit? I'm not sure with what Whitmer's doing there in Michigan.
Oh yeah.
She opened
it back up again. Like
she did.
Well, not open it up, but I mean, she lessened on some of that stuff. Like you can go visit residents and stuff, you know. And so she'd go. I mean, we're still a state. Yeah, you could now, right? Yeah. Right, Travis?
Yep. Yeah. No,
Yeah.
you can go between if you have multiple homes in Michigan. She wised up, and you can do that now. And
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you can drive through, through the southern end of Michigan and back into your home in Franklin and not fight it too much.
Yeah. I'm not going to get pulled over and yanked out of my car.
And
For that.
no.
Dude, I went like now it's like 2 weeks ago. When stuff was getting, again, it was like rumors were going to be that she was going to tighten it up a little bit. I went and drove to Grand Rapids to see Lene, and like we did like an outdoor kind of. It was really nice out, so we just went out in the park and crap like that.
Did you hit?
No, not that time, because it was me, her, and her kid, and we just did that or whatever. But
Okay.
I went and saw her, and that was the first time I had left. I had left the neighborhood of the Kennedys other than to go to my parents and back. And I remember seriously wondering, like, am I going to get on 96 and it's going to be like a fucking ghost town? And I got on 96 and it was like no big fucking deal. Like, it was.
Were there people driving like crazy?
Oh, yeah, dude. I was like, and I swear to God, I remember thinking, like, I thought I was like, oh, God, I'm going to get to 96, dude. Okay, there's some people on M59, but I'm going to get to 96. It's going to be like dead. I got on there's like, it's like nothing. It was just like, whatever.
Yeah, freeways around here like that too. I'm like, why? I mean, rush hour's light. Obviously, most people aren't at work, but you go driving around. It's not like they keep showing video of Manhattan, and because it's such a freak show, look at Times Square with nobody in it, or the Vegas Strip. They've been showing that a lot.
I've been looking at those. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's kind of cool to see these like ghost towns where you're used to seeing huge gatherings of people, but I'm not noticing that. People are out and about here, but there haven't been that many positive cases, of COVID. A couple thousand. There's 20 million people here or something. 30 million. I don't know how many are in Arizona.
Right. Yeah, it's like I know like you can't get there, but and it's weird because this is how things happen. We're all one idiot who wants to do it. But on some like I wish I could walk in Times Square right now to take a picture of what that would be like. But it takes one. One becomes 10, becomes 100, and that's whatever. But
you want to go walk on the steps like the Joker in the movie, right?
Yeah, right. I mean, dude, well, I bought almost 6 weeks ago now, like 5 weeks ago, I was still in that mode of like, I know this is what it is, but who knows how long is this really going to be bad? And so I got tickets to Vegas for $35 round trip for like Friday, May 1st. And
$35 round trip?
Yes, round trip. And but I'm not going to go now, but I'm going to try to change the date and hope that I can just roll that over to June or something.
And get the same price?
Right.
We'll see. I've heard the planes are dead. And I was hearing some of the airlines were going to like not use the 747s. They would use smaller planes.
Well, dude, we have
so few people traveling. I mean, they give you the upgrade, right? If you get on basically an empty plane, there's 12 people on it. Do you automatically get to sit in first class? I would hope they wouldn't make you sit in your seat.
Right. I know this, that we have a pilot listener that I was engaging with one time on Facebook, and he was talking about like, how low some of these flights are, but sometimes like they still, how it is with connections, they still have to get places. And he said at that point there was already like flights with 0 people on them. And I'm like, do they still do the safety thing? It's like, nope. They close the freaking door. The sky waitresses.
Of course, you'd ask that,
right?
do they still do the seatbelt bullshit and act like we're the exits are and point to them?
What if there's one? They have to do it, right? If you're one person on that flight.
Yeah. Well, wasn't there a story a couple months ago? Some guy, it was like he's like, yeah, I'm about to take off on my private jet, and he was jumping on like a Delta flight, but he was the only guy.
Yes.
And he's sitting there all by himself in an empty plane, and yeah, they got to do the safety thing for him, and yeah, that's funny, man.
But he says when they have the empty flights, they shut the thing, go, and the sky waitress is just in those big seats the big front seats, and then
first
take
class.
Off. Yeah, take off.
Yeah, as long as they let me sit there's. I wonder how many meals are in, and because there's so much that goes into it. They're planning on, all the dinners, and you can always buy lunch. It's not like the peanuts and pretzels, if they're allowed to have peanuts anymore. I don't know, but that stuff will stay good, the candy bars or whatever. But the lunches with the sandwiches and the chicken and all that stuff, I mean, that stuff they probably just got to throw away, right?
I think they know. They have some idea of who's going to be on the airplane, so they at least for the food that comes from the whatever they call that truck that drives around Metro all day long, something Air Chef or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
So so I think so they know some of that, but yeah, I mean, don't you hate it when they run out of Woodford before they get to like the middle of first class? It sucks. And I haven't seen a peanut on an airplane in a year. It sucks.
Yeah, that's true. No, I haven't either, Trav.
Mm-mm.
They have the pretzels. They have
almonds, salted almonds.
Yes, the almonds. And then they've got like Kind bars or something. And
the Kind bars to make you feel like you're eating healthy. Yep.
Right.
They are tasty though.
Which you're not. You're not. I know we have them here. People are like, oh yeah, enjoy your Kind bar. I'm like, dude, this is triple the sugar you need in a day in this Kind bar. Don't fool yourself into think you're eating healthy with a Kind bar or a granola bar. Those are my favorites too. The granola bars. It's like, no. It's basically a Snickers.
Yep.
Horrible for you.
They as well eat a Snickers bar. Yeah.
Well, it's like the people that drink Gatorade. People that drink Gatorade as just a drink because they're like, well, it's not pop. It's like, no, dude. No, Gatorade is
4 times the sugar you need.
Right. Terrible for you if you're not fucking Michael Jordan.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love Gatorade. I really do.
I know.
But you're right, E. You know, it's
So
not.
they drink it like they're like, well, I'm not drinking a Mountain Dew.
Yeah. So how's it going around there? How's the weather for you guys? Is it getting better?
Yeah, it's warming up. It's good today.
Next week's looking better than it was. So it was pretty crappy this week. And we had yesterday. So I also had a fire. It was great for a little while anyways. And then next week was looking pretty bad, but they've actually changed it. They've updated it. Monday looks awesome. And then I think we're supposed to be pushing 70 by the end of next week into Saturday. So,
Nice. About time. People starting to think about opening their pools. Do you guys have a run on things? Like I know the governor Whitmer there was catching a lot of shit. That idiotic, retarded thing she did where it was like, you can go to Lowe's for essential items, but she wanted like the paint section closed and certain things. It was like, well, isn't that just going to make people gather in one area? Wouldn't it be better to have them grab their fucking can of paint and not be all huddled in the one area where they sell Lysol and stuff? So are you guys having trouble getting toilet paper still? And
well, I got lucky to be honest. Like I was making fun of her, and she didn't do it like crazy. Not like, I mean, she wasn't one of these people that went in and got 500 things of toilet paper. But my mom started getting stuff kind of early, and so that's actually been how I've stayed out of stores. I kind of go back to my parents, and my mom just kind of gives me some stuff here and there. So I haven't. Travis, I don't know what Travis' experience has been.
I was pretty pumped to. I had to get propane today for some patio heaters and
some personal patio heaters.
They're awesome. And that's why that fire ended abruptly last night because I ran out of heat. But anyway, I was happy to go to Lowe's Garden Center and it was freaking packed. But
really,
it was nice to walk around there. What's that?
Were you masked up?
Yes. Damn it.
Really? God.
Yeah. You know what's funny?
Well, there was someone. Sorry,
There
was a person. She didn't really. She actually wasn't masked, ironically, but there was a Lowe's employee sitting out front of the garden center, saying hi to everyone as they were walking in. I have a feeling she was making sure people were masked up properly.
Oh, I thought she was keeping count of how many people were in there.
Maybe you're right. That could have been it too. Yeah, she didn't have a clicker, but I'll bet you that could have been it. But I will say, how do I say this? I'll sound like a dick, but so I got 4 propane tanks because I have a couple heaters and I wanted to have a couple backups.
Those essential? Are those essential?
That ran through my head. It ran through my head.
Yeah.
But damn it, this is the first time I've gone to a real store. I think I went to a curbside liquor store pickup once, but I'm rolling through the garden center all happy that I have my propane tanks, and one of the Lowe's workers, he was probably just being friendly, but it made me pause for a second. He's like, you only need 4? And I'm like I'm stockpiling propane, You dick.
Are they the personal ones, the little ones, or are they the big refill ones?
Oh, they're the the grill, the 20 pounders or whatever they are. Yeah. So
God, you need 4?
Okay. See, my grill is like half charcoal, half propane, Bobby. And
so
I
you get that little one. Yeah, that's all right. Yeah.
Screw in, and so you buy a case of them.
Right. And you know what? I probably would have felt more guilty. They had pallets of these tanks, so it wasn't like they were like hurting for propane or anything like that. Right. So, but I'm sure his comment, he probably didn't mean it, but it was kind of like, calling me out for hoarding propane. And I'm like, this doesn't look very essential. Who needs 4 propane tanks for their grill?
we're all on edge right now with stuff. Like, don't you feel like people are looking at you like if you don't have a mask on or gloves if you're outside? It's
I
like
look
why
at
I wore it.
everybody, dude. I
That's
look
why I
at
wore it.
everybody like that now.
you
And the other
never
th-
did, but now it's like that son of a bitch over there. Look at that son of a bitch.
Well, I told
You
you,
know?
dude. I think I mentioned the other day, or if I don't know if I said it on the show or off the show, but I was sitting outside, just kind of like I was sitting up. They have a nice little porch out front. I'm just sitting out there, whatever. And some dude across the street, 2 houses over, coughed. I'm like, "What the fuck is that? What the fuck is that?" That son of a
Yeah.
bitch.
I know. Every time someone sneezes in the house, they can be 3 rooms down. It's like you hear it in the background. It's like, yeah, nice Corona sneeze, asshole. You know,
We're
in
all
this
fucked.
house, it's like, yeah, constantly accusing. When Troy and I were driving out here, we drove through Missouri, Indiana, Illinois, and then like Kansas and New Mexico and Texas. In New Mexico, it was like Troy's like, I know where we're going to dinner, man. I was like, all right. He's like, it's not a chop house because he knows I want to always go for a fillet or something. But we went to the place where they did film Breaking Bad.
Oh, nice.
The
fast food place.
the
Los
chicken,
Pollos? Yeah.
yeah, Los Pollos,
Or-
whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah, and so there's all kinds. It's the actual place. It's not called
right.
El Pollo Brothers, whatever the name of that was on the show, but it's where they actually filmed it, and there's all kinds of autographs inside and stuff like
Badass.
that. I might have told you guys this, but
I didn't know.
we're in there. We're the only ones in there, and this is before coronavirus had really blown up. We were laughing at it. We're like, okay, we'll wash our hands, but whatever. And we go in there, and there's some little homo-y dude at the register, and he's takes our order and all that, and then T-Roy goes to the bathroom, and that dude was in there in like the shitter stall, and T-Roy's taking a whiz, and the kid walks out of the stall and just like starts walking right
Oh
out.
boy.
And T's like, yo, man, ain't gonna wash them hands even?
I'm in.
Like, called the motherfucker out. The kid didn't say a word. He just stopped, turned around, mortified, and washed his hands. Like, we're all calling each other out on shit.
Oh, dude, I was for one, I don't do much driving, but I'll drive by Myers, it's Meijer once in a while and stuff like that, and I just look and think like, okay, good. It doesn't look like the sign of the apocalypse. It looks like I could go in there and still get shit. But like, I was at the gas station to get beer, and there wasn't any car. There was only one car, so I thought, okay, this is good. This is good. And I look in there, I'm standing outside, like walking around. I got my gloves and mask on, sitting there walking around outside, and I see some dude in there talking to the guy at the register. I'm like, this son of a bitch, will he get the fuck out so I can go in and get my beer?
I'm the same thing. Like, every place I go to, the gas stations, they've hung like clear plexiglass windshields, like sneeze guards at a
Yes.
second bar. And then they've got the register desk, and then like exactly 6 feet away, they've taped off the floor.
Right.
To stand my 6 feet. But it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, but the fucking 300-pound guy in front of me, he's 4 foot in girth, man. I'm only 2 feet away from him. If I'm at your line, you're measuring from the edge of the desk 6 feet out. Well, he takes up 3 feet in girth. Like, you're not helping.
And the other
But
thing,
I had a guy stand there, and they're like, the lady's like, is that all, sir? He's like, yep. She'd already rung his shit,
Oh.
his card back, and he's just standing there. Like,
Jesus Christ, dude.
uh,
And the
fuck.
thing is, like,
you know what to do next, right, sir? When she says, will that be all? And you say yes, you're supposed to about face and walk the fuck out of here.
dude,
Don't
and
talk
Oh,
to
sorry.
anybody, just leave.
And even when I was in that gas station, dude, I swear to God, I had a mask on and I had gloves. And I'm still sitting there like,
Gee.
not breathing in. Don't breathe in. Just hold your breath. And I don't know if I said this before, but I literally, the case was like $15 and I threw a 20 down. He starts to get the change. I'm like, I don't fucking need it. And I just hurried the fuck out.
Yeah, I
Like-
love that. I love that idea because it is true. It's like no matter what precautions you're taking, it's like there's nothing more filthy than cash.
I know.
So, you know,
He was like, dude, he was seriously like, sir, you have $4 in change. I'm like, I don't need it. And I'm just running out the door.
yeah, that's funny as shit, man. That's really funny. So yeah, we're all learning how to live like this, and I don't know how long it's gonna be while we're still like, well, is it safe to go? I mean, is handshakes done? I know Fauci was
Fine with me.
championing for that handshakes are done, which you'd be fine with, E.
Right.
And
You know-
hugs.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I was talking. Everyone's just talking about this the whole time. I think for me, dude, bars, a nightclub, stuff like that, I think that might be, July or August, maybe. I don't know. You know what I mean? I don't know that I'm going to go. Even if she opened up the bars May 15th, I don't think I'm going to be May 16th at the fucking Necto in Ann Arbor.
No, probably not. I wonder how many people will. Probably college kids will. They're probably not very afraid of this.
Oh, I know.
Unless you, but it's, the problem is it's supposed to be more than that. Like, you don't want to be traipsing around town because you don't know who out there has family members that are compromised at home that you're potentially contaminating. So it's not just a worry that you're going to beat this, super flu. It's about who you could potentially give it to, as if people give a shit about other people. I think society has taught us that they really.
We're in this together, Mike. We're in this together.
Yeah. Are we? I know. The NFL wants you to believe that. They definitely.
Kit Kat and everyone else.
Oh, it's sad, dude.
Yeah, I don't know. I get stupid because I know corporations aren't, but on the same hand, dude, I get real sappy. Not with the corporations as much, but like, what's his name? John Krasinski, I think it is, who was Jim. Yeah, on The Office. Mm-hmm. He started doing this show called Good News. Yeah. And I've watched every episode, dude, and I cry almost every time at like the little just at the stories of like, I think that, not to get too corny about it, I know corporations don't give a fuck. They're just, CEOs. They don't really care.
No.
But and there's a lot of bad that comes out of a lot of this. You see people, idiots, doing stupid shit, but you see a lot of cool shit of communities coming together. Someone has a 80th birthday party, and so people drive by in their cars, and I get fucking emotional as shit. And to me, it does. I think people do care. I think that there is a lot of people that do care and are looking out for the betterment of most people over one. The problem is how many of them are there. I don't know.
I always feel like it's a shameless plug to give yourself credit. Like, we as a company are doing this for you. It's like, shut up.
Well, when a company does it, yes. But when there's cool stories, especially in the early on, even, like I remember things from Italy. I remember watching something from Italy, I think like a month ago, where, at 6 p.m., everyone was going to go out on their porches and like turn their lights on and off for the nurses or some shit. And you see video of just fucking hundreds of lights going on and off and people cheering. And that shit gets me pretty emotional, to be honest with you.
Oh, I don't know if you saw Beth did that post, I don't know, a few days ago, and she lost her first COVID-19 patient.
Oh, really?
The first one that she was, with.
Yeah.
And, it's heartbreaking to read her story with this guy, who had a grandchild 2 days earlier. I think he was in his 50s. And, talking about he was still alive, but not really.
Right.
And the family, she's called the daughter, another daughter, the wife, the son, and had to tell them and hold the phone up. You want to say something to your loved one, anything you want. I'm here holding his hand.
Oh my God.
They wanted to FaceTime, and she's thinking, no, you don't.
Oh,
you don't want to FaceTime. Yeah. Rigor mortis had set in before he's even dead.
Oh my God.
Blood around his mouth. His eyes had turned blue, like the sockets. And she's, when he died, she's like physically closing his eyelids and trying to close his mouth, and then helping put him in this big, thick, black bag, heavy. It's just like, holy shit. She's holding his hand through this and singing to him. And I'm like, wow, the things these nurses are seeing and doctors are seeing. And, you figure when someone goes into the hospital, they're only there a few days. Like, this is a dude who was living a very normal life. Just had a grandson a couple days ago, gets this virus. And while I'm with Travis, I looking at the data, and I don't think this is nearly as bad as they say. Just looking at the numbers of people globally that have it, how many people have died.
I was telling you earlier, like 200,000, a big article, 200,000 globally have not, like, just past 200,000. And I remember looking up a little bit ago, dude, on an average, and no one really knows, but at an average, they said like 150,000 people die on the planet a day. That's a guesstimate that they have.
Yeah.
And so a day.
Yeah.
Okay.
It is. And the fact is, they're starting to figure that we probably a lot more people had this.
Like,
what are you saying about New York? 4 million New Yorkers possibly had this. Like, and how many people live in New York City? 19 million or something like that.
Something
in all of New York, not in Manhattan. Manhattan is relatively low, actually, as far as people that live there. It's only like 1.3 million or something, believe it or not. But I think it's like 19 million. If you're talking about 4 million people, what's the math on that? 4, 8, 12, 16. It's like 20% of the people.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well,
But and the amount of deaths, it's minuscule. It's minuscule. So I don't think that people need to be as terrified of this as they are. But you read those stories, and every nurse has them.
right.
It's like, well, when it does get a hold of someone, it can be mild or it can be horrible.
Well, and yeah, you look at Pitt, they're showing, and I know there's some fear mongering. I know that there's been, stories of CBS using like hospitals in Spain or whatever and saying it was America. But on the same hand, dude, you do see some pictures of Detroit hospitals of just dead bodies just piled up, and it's fucking crazy.
Yeah, I don't know what that's about, because they're also saying, there was like worry that there wasn't going to be enough hospital beds or ventilators, but I thought
that's not been an issue at all, I don't think.
No, not really. Nationwide, it hasn't. I mean, maybe in the very, very early days, there was some concern in New York, but I think we've weathered all that. And
I don't know. I was telling Travis earlier, like I was saying this to my dad too, like, I try not to be too fear-mongering. I try to think, like I said, you look at Michigan even right now. I mean, what do we have? 30,000 cases or some shit like that. You have to get to 100,000 cases to get to 1% of our population. But on the same hand, with how much it spreads, people are like, well, why should I have in the UP not have to have my restaurant open? But if they had like just left the UP open, let's say they left the UP open, no restrictions, but the lower peninsula's like, dude, we're on lockdown. How many thousands of people would have just fled up to the UP for a fucking, I'll go up there for 2 weeks. And then what happens, right? Yeah,
sure. If it spreads like that, I mean, they were acting like it's super, super contagious. Who knows? The fact is, we just don't know. We just don't know. Trav, you pay more attention to the data than most, because that's all you're concerned about. And I'm with you on that one. Like, show me don't just fearmonger and say, oh my God, it's contagious and blah, blah, blah. It could spread like wildfire. Give me the actual data, because the fact is, until you have a vaccine, you're just delaying the inevitable anyways, right?
Correct. And I don't think that's right. I don't think that it spreads as quickly as we think it does. I have personal evidence as of recently to say that maybe it doesn't. We all thought we had it, and turns out we may not have. So, I don't know. I was telling, I think it was E. I think you stepped away, Mike, before the show, but I was telling E, I said I think hindsight's can be really interesting for people that like data and don't like the emotional side of this and really want to understand what happened. I honestly can't wait. The pisser of it is that people still spin it the way that they want, and people are still going to believe what they want. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
And it's like that. The people that question, the people that really like that stuff and understand it, they'll know the truth. It'll be you won't be able to argue that. You can't argue the real data.
Well, let me ask you this, Travis.
They'll try though to argue the real data. We've seen that, which is new. We didn't used to have people like Mr. Barely graduated high school going, nope, that doctor doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. Now they will, no matter how stupid their opinion is. People act like they know. I was talking to Derek about it, who's an immunologist.
What is his opinion? You said that before, because what is his opinion on it?
Should get him on here.
Yeah, we can. But he was talking to us when it was first. We thought maybe Marshall had it, and he was like, "Don't buy it." He said, "My company makes the tests that they're giving him, and he could have picked up dead virus particles because you guys have farm animals next door that he's around, and we're finding that they get it, and blah, blah, blah. It could be dead. It could be nothing. So before you panic," he said, there's like 3 billion particles. So if you think, you can prevent by, putting on a little Lysol and walking out, you're it's nothing. So you can't really prevent it like that. I'm not going to do it justice. We should get him on.
What does this take overall, though?
Early. He thinks it'll be a year and a half before there's a vaccine. And, he says Purell is bullshit. Purell has many, many lawsuits against it. And if you think you're being safe by Purelling up, you're wrong. Lysol's the way to go. Concentrated bleach and water. What he does is put a cap full of bleach and then water, whatever the mix is.
Yeah.
And he and his wife spray their feet, their shoes when they walk back into the house.
Okay.
And
but like overall,
really good. Lysol's really good. You know,
as far as the worry,
he's not terribly worried, and you know, but he's like everybody else. 1 minute they're saying one thing, the next they're saying another. Like you just don't know.
Yeah.
You know how viruses tend to react and behave, and you know, I don't know. Like I said, I don't want to put words in his mouth.
Okay.
I certainly won't do it justice.
Right.
Talking to him is a lot more interesting. So we can do that. I just didn't want to do that to you, Trav. It's a lot, just getting all of us together here. But
well, I think it's getting a little more smooth. Hopefully, it's better for the listeners, and so we'll be able to start adding things here slowly over the next few weeks as we're ready. So,
Travis, I just have one more question. I know I feel like we kind of did this last time, but just when you look at the numbers and you know you say like looking back when you get a year out, what we'll look back at. What do you think though that we should not be at concerts right now? Like even with the numbers, or do you think that should have just happened anyway, and who got it, and we deal with that when it happens?
No, it's funny. I keep saying this. I've said it the whole deal. Like you just roll back in your timeline 7 days, and your position is completely different, right? And and in 7 days ago, I would have said no. I'm still not comfortable going into large crowds like that. I mean, unless I have to. I don't need to go to Billy Joel this summer or whatever tickets I have lined up. You know.
I want to go though.
Wait, Bill Joel puts on a great show. In his defense,
Bill Joel does.
Bill Joel does.
I'm going with Dan and others, and I think we have nosebleeds, so I'm not in a huge hurry to go down there and hang with tens of thousands of people.
Nosebleeds, maybe not then,
but you know, I think that I don't know. I'm loosening up a little bit. I still won't be running to the stadiums, I don't think, but you know, as this data starts to come out and the emotion, you can tell the emotions are going away a little bit. Because no longer they're doing the death toll thing and how many new cases and all that crap, right? Yeah. The stigma, it's flat now. Now they're going back to attacking administration and all the fun media lines. Exactly, right? So
if that's the case, I don't give a fuck.
Once you know it's politicized, forget it. It's like we see it in every aspect of life. The politicalization. Is that the?
You got her.
Okay.
Forget it.
Politicization. Whatever.
You're on your own.
I'm just bobbing out there in fucking water, just trying to stay afloat. No, you know what I'm saying though. But like we politicize everything. So you know this one you hoped like 9/11 was a great test for this country. Like, can people come together as one? And you have 96% of the country all rooting for the same thing. And it's like that happened. You know, Bush's approval ratings were in the 90s, and the country was never more American and pulling for each other and helping each other out.
We didn't have the internet really, though.
Exactly.
I mean, we did, but we didn't.
You didn't.
No,
you didn't have Facebook. You didn't have soccer moms resharing fucking bullshit.
People didn't have their own echo chambers, and like you know, I'm sure if there were, then we probably would have been a little more divided. I hate the internet for that. I really do, because you're right. I was thinking about 9/11 too at the early part of this deal. I'm like, man, if we could come together like that, wouldn't that be great? Just for 3, 4, 5 months, whatever, as a country, to stop the right, left, whatever arguments, and just come together. And unfortunately, I don't think it'll ever happen again. Not like that.
It will definitely never happen again.
Yeah.
Because we'll never not have the internet. I mean, if the grid goes down and we lose the internet and everything has to start over, you know, maybe then you would get a second shot at human existence to redo things. But as long as the internet exists,
I disagree. I'm telling you,
no.
I disagree that it didn't happen as much as you guys. If you watch some of like when I watched, and this is so far ago to think about it now, but when I watched like Dropkick Murphys do their live show on St. Patrick's Day, you know, it's their big tradition. They do it live on Facebook and all this stuff. And so like, again, just like Jay used to say, if you get away from the news and go to like some of the funner stuff and watch like some of these artists that are doing concerts live, and you scroll down and when I was watching that Dropkick Murphys, there was people, I'm tough times. I'm here in Italy. I'm here in Australia, but this is making my St. Patrick's Day. So there are things out there where people really are getting brought together. Again, if you stay away from the news, I think you see that more. Like when I've been walking.
Yeah.
Well, when I go on walks around this neighborhood even, dude, just this one neighborhood, I've had different periods where kids have ridden in chalk on their road and on their driveway. Stay together.
Yeah,
we got this. But I'm just saying,
yeah.
if you stay out of the news, you do, I think, on some level, see some of that.
I can tell by the disgust on Travis's face, like the emotional shit does nothing for him.
I know it doesn't to him, but
yeah, I'm a different person.
Dude, if I hear one more soft piano intro for a pre-recorded segment on ESPN talking about the heroes, and you can always tell because the draft is going on, right? And that was really cool. They're bragging about their ratings have never been stronger. It's like, yeah, asshole, everyone's home. And we haven't had a live sporting event in up to 2 months. So,
right.
Yeah, the WNBA draft. That's how desperate they are. But, I get pissed, and it's like the package piece airs, and it's like, yeah, here's a kid with cancer, and, he's going to announce the pick for the fucking blah, blah, blah. And then they cut back to the commissioner, and he's like, yeah, camera on me. Oh, thank you, Tristan. We all love you and support you and blah, blah. And it's like, no, the real you was the one worried about getting the fucking camera back on him. And I hate to be so cynical, but I just feel that way when it's like, okay, can we not have ESPN? I tweeted about this, and I got tremendous support for this particular tweet. And I was just like, hey, ESPN, you do sports. The medical community is not covering sports. You don't need to cover them every 5 minutes. We don't need, people are, this is supposed to be an escape. Give us a couple hours. Just do the fucking draft. I want to know who my team got. I don't need some nurse on camera going, we want to thank she's never been on a camera before. We want to thank all the people and stay home, be safe, and we're here working for you. I don't need Deion Sanders telling me we're going to get through this.
Yeah,
Fuck
I know, but
what do you know? Deion, you run fast. You caught balls good. I don't need you telling me it's going to be okay.
I know. I guess, but when you say Travis had a disgusted look on what I was saying, like my thing wasn't an emotional thing like your ESPN thing. My thing was reading live comments from people that are real people just talking to each other. And I remember when I watched it, I got very emotional, and I get emotional, so I'm a bad example, maybe. But Trav, that wasn't like ESPN.
And I'm the opposite of that. Yeah, and I'm the opposite of you in that, right? So I get it. Yeah.
But you said bringing people together, and that was a stream where there was 100,000 people watching, and they were all.
Yeah. That Dropkick Murphy thing was probably one of the best live streams I think I've ever seen. Yeah, it was really sweet. I'm with you on that for sure. Plus, Chris Newberg was blowing me up the entire thing because he thought I was pretty. There was a dude in there, the producer, looked like me, I guess.
Oh yeah.
You were
he was texting me. He's like, and I thought he was joking with me, so I continued to joke with him. I'm like, yeah, I got pulled into this thing at the last minute. I had to fly out to LA or wherever.
You look like a lot of people, Trav, don't you? You
find beard and glasses.
Yeah, beard and glasses, man. I don't know if it's just me. It probably is. As I get older, I don't want to be crotchety, like cynical old man who doesn't believe the legitimacy of human beings. I just have so many experiences of like, yeah, you're full of shit. I don't believe you. I don't believe you care that much about other people. We don't see tremendous examples in our daily lives of people actually genuinely caring about their fellow man. It's more like, yeah, get the fuck away from me, you weirdo. Why aren't you wearing a mask? Like, we'd sooner go to fight with each other than anything. And so when I
hope you're wrong, Mike, but I
don't agree with that personally.
I can't disagree 100%.
I can. I don't agree with that.
When I see celebrities,
I hope you're ready.
Like celebrities, I'm sure there's more of it now, but
yeah.
When I see celebrities, what was the first thing I didn't want to do this show? Because it was like every fucking asshole is doing a podcast now. It's like, oh, I can't be an actor, so, well, I guess I'll do a podcast. They have to all pop up a studio and do their version of a talk show. And it's happening everywhere. And it's like, I don't know. It just, and everyone be safe and this and that. And I just don't know that I buy it. It's more, I'm just so cynical. Like, I think when I see every musician has to do get together and perform a song on a fucking
those are kind of cool, Mike.
I fucking love them. Are you kidding me?
Some of them I feel like they're doing it for themselves, not for me.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, so what? So are we. We're doing this for ourselves on some level.
No, we're not. I don't do this for myself.
Oh, come on.
Dude, this is what I do for a job. I mean, I don't know.
I know I do. I do it for myself on a lot of levels. Yeah.
This year's draft, watching that, I think it was way better.
Was it?
Way better. Yeah, it should have been filled with technical glitches and stuff. And it's pretty remarkable how they got 60 remote locations and were able to have cameras in on all of them. And it was, usually we see these guys, and with the third pick in the NFL draft, the Detroit Lions select Jeff Okudah, the cornerback from Ohio State. And then he comes up there flashing the money sign or something, gets his jersey and his photo, and then gives a stock interview. Oh, I'm just blessed. God bless me with talent and want to do the best I can for the team and, blah, blah, blah. I got a lot to learn. We didn't have any of that shit. But what we did get was a firsthand look into all the houses of the exec and coaches and players being drafted and their families. And I got to tell you, E and Trav, I always thought that like these players, these sob stories, like, the inner city kids and come from nothing. I figured they were going to be in these rat-infested shitholes apartments. And it's like, man, that dude's got a dope-ass crib. What's going on? This kid doesn't have a sob story. He's living in $1 million crib right now.
Dude, they're going to – I mean, who knows if they don't rent homes, so it makes it, they got to be –
Man, no. These were their family homes. They were quarantined. They're quarantined.
Good point.
And it's
like quarantine. There's like 3 families sitting together in some of these. I'm like, what are you doing?
I saw, you usually see like a producer in the background with his mask pulled down as he's giving instructions. I'm like, oh shit. But some of them were really funny. Who was it? I think it was, who's the Texans coach? O'Brien. Is it Bill O'Brien? And he's got his kid sitting there. His kid's like 10. And he's sitting there, and something technically was off. And so, is it Bill O'Brien? Yeah. And he's sitting there, and he's like, you can see him mouthing like, "What the fuck, Bob?" And then he stands up, and he's like, "This is fucking blah 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 blah." No reaction on his kid's face. None. His 10-year-old kid is sitting, normal, and it's like par for the course. Dad's gonna lose his shit, be like, "What the motherfuck?" in front of his 10-year-old kid, and I'm like. G looked at me, he goes, that kid's seen that a lot. Like, yeah, he didn't want to react at all. But I have really enjoyed looking in at these, coaches and execs, their houses, their cribs. Cliff Kingsbury, the coach of the Arizona Cardinals, his fucking incredible crib. Tyrann Mathieu was tweeting out like, damn, no wonder you guys couldn't afford to pay me to keep me on your roster. Looking at the coach's fucking dope house and all these guys. And I'm just looking at you, Trav. It's like, what's he got on his wall back there? Is that a guitar?
Great.
Is that a Les Paul back there?
What's that? May or may not be.
Is that
a total knockoff?
Knowing you, that's not a knockoff. But I don't know what your pictures are. I just have blinds behind me, but
fam.
Who are you texting?
Dude, I can't. I hit a button. I was trying to search something, and I hit a button, and now I can't see you. And so I didn't want to. I was texting Travis to ask him how I fixed this because I don't.
Hold on, I'll remote into your computer.
It's just so weird because I don't want to hit something and then just end the call, but I don't know what I'm doing.
Wow.
Good call.
So anyway, we won't talk much about the draft. The Lions got their guy Jeff Okudah, the cornerback from Ohio State, which whatever. No shock there. There were really no shocks early on in the draft. I think my only problem with Okudah is I think that historically there are, examples of guys that jumped in and can play defensive back in the NFL, make the transition from college and be effective right away. 99% of these guys, it takes them 5 years. Look at Slay. It took 5 years before he becomes a premier corner in the league and one of the guys. And by the time they become that elite level, Pro Bowl caliber, you either have to pay them the house or they leave. And so it's like, okay, take a corner. I did hear Deion Sanders talking, and this is something where I do respect his opinion when he's talking about an athlete. I don't care about his opinion on coronavirus, but I do care about his opinion when he's breaking down film of a player. And he said, that's a guy you draft and forget about that position for 10 years. He's that good. And so it's like, okay, if you can shore up that part of your defense and get a guy that's a lockdown, barring injuries, okay, I don't have a problem with it. But if we go through this thing like Terry Fair or, Slay, where it's like, ah, shit, you had 3 years of this guy figuring out how to play in the league. I don't know. So then they got some other draft picks, including running back at the end. One of my buddies was texting out like, this guy's so amazing. They have no video of him. Like, they don't have any video of this guy's highlights. Like, who the fuck is this dude they just drafted? So we'll see if they know it. But I know you guys weren't watching it. I don't think.
Well,
Not really. This is the year, though. I'm pretty sure this is the year, Mike. We're gonna be great.
This is the year.
What if the Lions freaking actually, like, we get a team that's good and we have to play the whole season with no fans, so we don't get to, like, now they just kill it.
You know what's going to happen.
There's an empty Super Bowl. They have the NFC Championship game at Ford Field, and there's no one can go.
Well, G is convinced that wipes out home field advantage, and I'm not so sure about that just because of the elements. When you've got potentially rain or sleet versus snow versus 85 and sunny and muggy in Miami. There's all kinds of travel from the east to the west and west to the east. Like, all those things come into play. So I think it would matter more in basketball, where,
right,
like, if you did March Madness, and G brought this up to me, and I 100% agree, you would have no upsets.
It's going to change it, though.
Those Cinderella teams that have no business being in a basketball game with a Duke, they're playing off the crowd. And they just get walked on.
You know what would have been badass is, originally I heard when they were still going to have it, but no crowd, the place that, like, they filmed Hoosiers in was like, oh, we'll let you play games here. And so, like, there was a possibility that it could have been kind of cool. They could have played some of these games, like, in just little, like, historic gymnasiums, and instead of, like, a palace or some shit.
Now,
or whatever.
That's kind of cool. If you took NFL games and played them at a high school field.
Right. I mean,
because you don't need to use the electricity and the gas and whatever of a
maybe they could pick
1,000 person stadium. Just do it at a high school and have cops there and have nobody there.
Right. Maybe they could do like a different high school each home game or some shit.
Yeah. I mean, that would be kind of interesting. Although, you have sports like golf talking about coming back, and it's like, well, we won't have any fans here. It's like, outside of that tournament in Arizona, who gives a shit?
Definitely won't be able to tell on the women's tour.
No, I don't think you will. Tennis you can get away with without a crowd. Who gives a shit? And would hockey be? Hockey would be way different without a crowd. Football would be a problem. Baseball would be a problem.
Have you heard Gary Bettman's already said that he's committed to this season, even if they start the 2019-20 season in October?
It's weird, dude, because all you're doing is delaying the inevitable. Right. Like, your season ends unless you shave games or weeks off it. You're just postponing. You're going to have to make that up at some point. You know what I mean? You can only rob Peter to pay Paul for so long before you're going to have to cover the fact that your season went into August instead of June.
Right.
So now what? You start earlier. It's like I was talking to my dad about it. It's like every team won the Super Bowl then. Like no off season for those teams.
Right.
For making a long run. There was one video I saw too of watching that draft, that Tristan Wirfs. I don't know if you guys saw this, and we don't need to play it or anything, but this dude's he's 21 years old. He's an Iowa Hawkeye lineman, 6'5", 322. He's standing in a pool, in-ground pool, with water to his tits, and jumps out of the water and sticks the landing with his feet on the platform.
Really?
Think about that. How
shit.
Fucking strong you need to be. You can find the video out there. I don't know if we have the capability.
Not yet. Soon.
Soon we will. But yeah, pretty amazing. Amazing.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Think about that. Up 4 foot water up to his.
I assume where that was going is that his dong came out, but I guess not.
No, that would have been good too. Now that I think about it. But it was just so impressive to see a guy that size. You just don't even realize just how athletic and strong these guys are. He's
a big boy.
Yeah.
I'm watching it. Yeah.
You watching it? Isn't that incredible, Trav?
That's awesome. Yeah.
I would jump 3 inches out of the water, off the bottom of the thing, and then chip my teeth on the.
Well, I was just going to say that's a risky move, considering where he's going right now.
Yeah.
Smack his face in the concrete.
Some other things. We've got new video that's emerged involving Joe Biden. Have you guys heard about that?
No, what this time?
He's always been touchy-feely guy, and
Does he know where he is? I mean,
I'm not sure.
How is he going to be the president? How can they sit there and honestly say that he's a good candidate?
It's Weekend at Bernie's in the Oval Office if he wins. It is. I mean, they're just going to drag around a half-dead body and be like puppet on a string. There's no way. The guy's clueless every time you see him talk. So this 1993 clip has emerged, and it's the mother of this woman who accused Joe Biden of sexual assault. He was on Larry King Live.
Oh, boy.
And, yeah, the video appears to back up this woman, Tara Reid, not that Tara Reid. She was a staffer, and she told her about harassment to Joe Biden from 27 years earlier. She filed an official criminal complaint on April 9th accusing Biden of shoving his hand up her skirt. So she calls Jeanette, the mom, calls Larry King asking for advice on the show. He was doing a show like Washington, the worst of the worst or something like that. It was the name of the show. It was August 11th, 93, Washington, the cruelest city on earth. And featured a woman identified as, Jeanette calling in from San Luis Obispo. Records show that August 93 was the last month Reid worked for Biden's office, and that Mrs. Ultimus was living in San Luis Obispo County at the time in California. My daughter was just left there after working for a prominent senator and could not get through with her problems at all. The only thing she could have done was go to the press. She chose not to out of respect for him. So the girl that accused him, and now this is past the statute of limitations, so it's not like he's going to go to jail. So she responded to the clip that aired on Twitter saying, "This is my mom. I miss her so much. Her brave support of me. I discussed the Larry King call with reporters last year and on Katie Halper publicly. Thank you for posting. I miss my mom. She died 4 years ago. Her indignation of how I was treated prompted her to reach out in 93. Thank you to those who found the Larry King episode I told reporters about." So she was among a group of women that came out last year alleging Biden was too handsy, a little too handsy with people, but did not make her allegation of sexual assault until speaking with Katie Halper on the Katie Halper Show podcast on March 25th. She said the assault occurred after she was told to deliver a gym bag to the senator. She tracked down Biden on Capitol Hill, and he remembered her name. It was the strangest thing, she said. There was no exchange really. Not even like, "Hey, how you doing?" He just held me up against the wall. She was wearing a skirt to work, but no pantyhose. Well, if that's not asking for it, I don't know what is.
Right.
Right, guys? He just held me up against the wall, and the wall was cold. His hands were on me and underneath my clothes. He went down my skirt and then up inside it. He penetrated me with his fingers. Oh, Joe. Just starts fingering her. This lower level aide. Yeah, he was kissing me at the same time. When she pulled back, Biden looked annoyed. He said, "Come on, man. I heard you liked me." I could totally see him saying, "Come on, man," to a chick. Like, that's the way he talks.
Right.
You know what I mean? He definitely fingered this chick for no reason.
Before you move on, can you, at least we can admit that it's going to be a more tolerable election season, right? I mean, it was really hard personally for me to like Hillary Clinton. I think most of the world or most of the country. Yeah. At least Joe, I mean, it won't be irritating every time Joe talks. It'll be comical in a lot of ways.
Do you feel that way, you think, because he fingered a chick against her will?
Oh, no.
Okay.
I just mean generally this kind of, right? Like Hillary was
hated.
Rating, yes.
Clinton was hated for 30 years. That's the best part of the Hillary Clinton thing. To act like you didn't know there were a dozen books at least written about what a fucking cunt she was to everybody, to her staff, to the military protection she had. She was known as a bitch.
Seemed like a horrible person by all accounts. Yes.
And Biden, I think the problem with him is he's just such a fucking career politician. Yeah. He just is. He's an old man who's really not with it. His cutesy little gaffes are one thing. This isn't cute anymore. This is like, dude,
it's gross. It's true. It's gross. Yeah.
Yes. And, Jay knows a lawyer in D.C. who was a big fucking lawyer, female. And, you know, I when I've talked to Jay about it, it's like, do you believe her? And he's like, 100%. This is a very, very professional woman who said Joe, you know, walked up and was like, want to suck my cock in the closet. You know, just like boom, like that. She was like, okay. So I think these guys, you know, that's why I get so mad when Joe Biden's like, oh, I'd like to take Trump behind the woodshed. Oh, what are you going to teach him a lesson? You're going to whoop his ass, Joe. Yeah, if I heard anyone locker room talk, no such thing, Americans. If I heard someone talking like that in the locker, bullshit, Joe, bullshit. I don't buy for a second that if you heard people talking about, yeah, I crushed puss over the weekend in a high school men's locker room, that you would be like, hey, respectful to women in the 40s, whenever you were coming up. Bullshit. I don't buy. And I love this too. His group is so she had previously said that Biden had touched her several times and made her feel uncomfortable. She quit, told her mom, told a boyfriend, told another friend, and another person who has since died. They can all back the story. And now this clip, she's saying, my mom called into Larry King 27 years ago. I don't remember the exact date or whatever. The Intercept tracked this video down, and sure as shit, there it is. It's very hard to defend that. In fact, to the point that CNN is even playing the video now. Like CNN is super liberal, super anti-Trump, no matter what. The last thing they want to do is paint Joe Biden in a bad light.
What do they do at this point if Joe Biden, if enough of this is like, is he still just a nominee? Or do they?
What did we do for Trump? They just kept rolling.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
I mean, the irony
they
is
can't do it on their side because
I know. Yeah. Well, that's the irony.
and they can,
part,
but
right?
they can't. Like,
Well, his team has said they have fiercely denied the claims. Of course they have. What are they going to say? Boys will be boys. It was a different time. You wouldn't understand. No, they've got to say, because they know there's no DNA evidence. It's one person's word against another's. So you can just deny. There's going to be no video. There's going to be no fingerprints. You know, it's not like you can open her vagina up and take a camera and get in there and be like, there's Biden's index and middle right there. You can see him. So so they say women have the right to tell their story, and reporters have an obligation to rigorously vet those claims.
oh, do they?
Communication director Kate.
Do they have that obligation with Kavanaugh?
Yeah, we'll get there, E, because that's the hilarious part. We encourage them to do so because these accusations are false. Do you? Are you
Believe all women. Hashtag believe all women.
Yeah, of course. Hashtag me too. Hashtag believe all women. Vice President Biden has dedicated his public life to changing the culture and the laws around violence against women. He authored and fought for the passage and reauthorization of the landmark Violence Against Women Act. He firmly believes women have a right to be heard and heard respectfully. You know what else? There's some of the most fervent and judgy men of the cloth give the best blowjobs. You know what I mean? Just because you say like, oh, absolutely not. And we can trust him because he believes in the Women's Act or the Women's, Against Violence Against Women Act. So what? The church members preach every day about homosexuality is the sin. It's a sin against man and against the Lord. And yet they're out giving the best blowjobs on planet Earth. A lot.
The fact that, dude, like, look it, I don't care about this even. Take away this other shit. He is literally, we're not talking in some testimony or some, he is on camera at like presidential or like congressional press conferences sniffing women's hair in the background. Like this is like, it isn't just, an off-color comment in the corridor. Like,
no, he's fingering them in the corridor.
Oh, I know, but I'm just saying, like, we have video of him.
He's just sniffing their hair.
But like in like fucking presidential press conferences, he's sniffing women's hairs in the background. But no, he's not a creepy guy at all.
And this gets really funny too, because it's like, all women should be heard and the media should do their job. What they're leaving out is all women should be heard, just not believed, especially in this case. Like he's saying this woman is full of shit, but why would she have her right? She's an insane person then, Joe. Why would you want her to be listened to if it's total bullshit? By the way, it's not bullshit. Joe Biden fingered this girl. I believe the Brett Kavanaugh thing was a fucking railroad job. And for all the people out there, why is the Biden story barely mentioned? Why is it barely mentioned? Yet Brett Kavanaugh, think about all the hoopla for him. She said, oh, these people were there at the party. Those people went, nope, no idea what the fuck this bitch is talking about. None. Her friends, not Kavanaugh's friends, her friends had no clue what she was talking about. And, they almost tore that man to shreds, the protesting, which I don't have a problem with, but make it fair. If you're gonna do the whole we believe all women and blah blah, don't make it political. If that's what you believe, all women, no matter what, I'm not saying, I think it's just as dangerous for Rose McGowan. Tara Reid is telling the truth, all caps, hashtag. It sounds pretty fucking credible. It really does sound credible that, like, why would this woman be making this up for 27 years? Why would her mom be calling Larry King's show to say, what should we do? It was ignored by any upper level person on Biden's team that she tried to talk to. They blew it off and she ended up quitting. That's a whole lot of trouble to go through to make something like that up. The Kavanaugh story was totally different. And I just don't believe that this many people give a shit about women. I just don't. I don't believe that all these people that were against Brett Kavanaugh, just be honest. The reason you wanted Brett Kavanaugh out was because President Trump was appointing him to be part of a conservative bench. That's it. You didn't give a shit about Blasey Ford. Most of you probably didn't believe her. Most of you, if you admitted it, know that it's bullshit to destroy someone's career based on something that could never be proven. Never. You wouldn't want that to happen to anyone, and it sets a scary, dangerous precedent. If you can just say something against someone you don't agree with politically and then destroy them. And if that's the new standard, then apply it to all of them. Because Joe Biden, this story sounds way more credible and believable that he assaulted this woman and other women too. And it's not like lack of evidence. We've seen him get where all of us are watching him and go, Jesus, Joe, looks like you're sniffing a 12-year-old's hair. She's pulling away from you. Let her shoulders go. Her mom's now pulling away from you, weirdo. It's just weird. Hugs people too long. Had to come out and actually say, oh, yeah, I'm not going to be touchy-feely anymore. Like, he had to address it. It was so weird.
Right.
So, anyway.
Creepy Joe.
I was just going to say, they're all creeps. Yep.
Yeah.
I just, the irony here is it's thick in that their side, the left side, now has a creep, just like they said we were, right, or Trump was, and I'm somewhere in the middle. So for me, it's really frustrating to be in the middle and see this crap go on both sides. So. Oh
yeah. Well, the worst part too, Trav, is it gets painted where if you say anything in support of Brett Kavanaugh when that was going on, then you support abuse of women, and it's like. I don't think
it's the broad brush that I can't stand on either side. Yeah,
sucks. Because the reality is, Trav, I would bet E's life. I'll go as far as to say I would bet E's life that the three people on this camera right now have never laid a hand on a woman in anger.
Truth.
Right? The three men that you see sitting in front of you have never physically assaulted a woman, raped a woman against her will. I say that, and I would bet E's life on it. I wouldn't want someone to destroy any of us over that. It's weird. We should wrap up before too long. I did want to say, not all there are some real feel-good stories with coronavirus. Not all just like, I read a story about a homeless guy who was doused in gasoline and lit on fire. I thought that was highly inappropriate. He's fighting for his life. My prayers are that he dies soon, because you do not want to go on with life after what he's going through. So for all parties involved, it's not like he was crushing it in life anyways. He's a homeless man during the pandemic. What's that?
I was trying to get Rory came in the room here, so I was trying to pick him up, but he to show him. Rory's the cat. The technical reason I'm here house sitting.
Squatting.
This cat, I'm telling you this, Mike, I'm never going to care for a cat. Even Tony, I'm not going to care for a cat more than I care about this Rory, because once this Rory, gets out of here, then I won't be able to have the house privileges anymore. So I need this cat to fucking live.
Yeah.
The most important being in my life right now.
What if the Kennedys die or something? What if they get horrible coronas, they become filthy beasts and die?
Yeah.
But you're not going to get their house. You're probably not.
I mean, I'm in squatters' rights at this point. I think.
For a minute, yeah.
I think you could pull off squatters' rights and stay there for a couple of years.
Just change the keys, dude.
It would affect your relationship with the Kennedys, no doubt about it. It really would in an adverse way, I would think.
Well,
but
they're dead,
for
aren't
a couple of years, dude, you'd be fucking living high on the hog.
Right.
I don't
the Kennedys
think
are dead.
pay you. I don't think they would. I wouldn't expect the checks to keep rolling in.
Oh, you're saying they're still alive? They're just down there.
Yeah, if you just pull squatters' rights, and they you do and just lock the door and be like squatters' rights, you could probably fight that successfully for a year or two in court.
Oh, I'm sure.
Keep them your new house, but I'm saying it's going to adversely affect your relationship going forward.
It would.
Yeah,
it would. But I think it'd be worth it.
You could have
write a letter, maybe.
Years. What's that?
I mean,
just write a I'm sorry letter down the road.
Fact, I don't know.
I'm willing to hurt that reputation to have my own house for a little bit.
So if I shatter that relationship, you're okay with that?
Yeah, it is what it is.
It's a dope house on the lake, man.
They're kind of old anyway, so they're probably going to be dying whether they get the COVID or not in the next 10 years. So what does it matter?
That's true. Well, I pull squatters' rights. Many people have done it with great success, E. I did want to mention another story, though, because not all the stories are so tragic of people dying and horrible things. There are still people out there genuinely that care about society and want to help out. Usually it's the children, you see that genuinely want to be involved. And there's this little girl from Texas, Lexi Collins. Yeah, little poops. She's 10, fifth grader, whose mom is a nurse at the Knox County Hospital. Inspired her community. She made masks for Anson General Hospital workers this month. She spent hours sewing 100 masks by hand.
They're cloth or the N95s?
Well, I don't know.
Cloths aren't really that helpful, to be honest with you.
Can we give her it's the thought that counts, benefit of the doubt? So the hospital gave her a shout out on Facebook. Thank you for a beautiful donation of masks by a special fifth grader from Monday, Texas.
He's tossing them away because they won't be helping us at all, but thank you anyway.
Well, they're colorful and stuff and got goofy faces on some of them. She sewed 100 of them. That would take a lot of hours, man. She loves to sew. Her mom said, and I'm a nurse, so she wants to help out all the nurses she can. Praying you all stay safe throughout all this. Lexi is so glad to help out. The councilwoman, Karen Logan, said, little girl's donation to a hospital is fitting as her mom, grandma, aunt, and uncle are all nurses. Anyway.
Oh, hey.
By the way, hold on, E. I should finish that. She was killed Monday in an ATV accident. The 10-year-old.
Mike.
What?
Yeah.
But she did. I mean, but she did this amazing thing with the E shit on it a little bit, saying they were probably cloth. But she was laid to rest on Monday. But she did get 100 sewn masks out.
I just saw the story. That's horrible.
Yeah. On Monday, they had a ceremony and everything, which probably goes against Lexi. She wants people quarantined and not spreading germs, but mourners were required to wear masks in practice.
Did they wear her masks? Sorry.
Probably not, because of the whole thing E brought up, the N85 or whatever. I don't know. But she's a good kid. She's a good roops.
She looked adorable, yeah.
Yeah, she sure did. Where did Isis go?
Okay.
Get a beer or bathroom.
No.
Hopefully beer.
Unfortunately, I got it tied up again. But my neighbors, neighbors at my parents' house made me a mask, and it's fucking America here.
What do you love, Trump? What's going on with you?
No, I'm showing. I'm just saying, you're talking about
over the nose.
Over the nose ear. It doesn't work.
No, it does. You stretch it out like that.
Doesn't it suck to wear glasses with a mask on? I did that for the first time today. I'm like, I can't see anything.
Does it have this thing where you can pinch it at the nose E so that it really clasps?
No, it does not. But
okay, so it's basically you can throw that in the garbage now.
I know.
Thank you. I've been wearing it round the clock. I love it. But you can throw that in the garbage.
You know what I did today? I lost. So I went to the gas station a few days ago, and I'm being just all paranoid. I put my glove on and I fill up my whatever, And I was like, shit, where's my credit card? The next day I couldn't see my credit card. And I got a call from an unknown number. And of course I'm like, fuck that. Turns out it was a police officer, like, oh, I found an Eric credit card for Eric Fady, blah, blah, blah. So I had to go to the White Lake Police Department to pick it up today. But like, I'm fucking like, dude, the police department, that's the worst fucking place you could go to. The dregs of society are at the police
cancel the
department.
card.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
I would have got it, but I'm like, can I wear my mask into the place? So I fucking gloves on, mask
You
on,
wanna
and
wear a mask in there. Just keep your hands in your pocket when you do it. Put on
right.
some dark sunglasses and a hoodie too.
I put my mask on and gloves on. And I'm in the police department. My credit card I was told by an officer my credit card was left for me here.
Yeah. That's funny. You hear black people were bitching about it. Like, I was a black man. I can't wear a mask outside. People will think I'm, robbing a bank. I'm like, dude, relax. Stop it. If anyone sees you outside with a fucking mask on, they're like, oh, hey. And I can assume you're robbing something.
Right.
Settle down, poops. But throw that in the garbage for real. I don't even want to see it on camera again. That thing's worthless. I got a couple of emails we can do before we get out of here.
That's great.
Yeah. One from Andy. Hey, Mike. Hope all is well. And if you want to email at DetroitCast.com. Some people have emailed to Walters@DetroitCast.com as well, or Eric@DetroitCast.com. Trav, we should probably get you a DetroitCast email too.
That's just what he
I'm
wants.
just the engineer.
Yeah, but technical questions that come in, they'll go, hey, can you ask Trav this? And no, motherfucker, you ask Trav. Hit him up at Travis@DetroitCast.com.
I'll have to get Aaron on that.
Yeah, it's easy to do.
I don't know how to do computer things.
No. Hey, Mike, hope all is well. I've been listening to the show for a handful of years now. You do a great job. Well, thank you, Andy. I appreciate that. I'm super pumped to hear you guys back on air again. Thanks a million for all you do. The listening audience is extremely lucky, Isis, to have the Detroit Cast. Please take care of yourself. Looking forward to more shows. Thank you. Well, thank you, Andy. We appreciate that. I hope more people email in. You don't have to kiss our ass. It's usually going to get read more often if you're not. But Mark Reinhardt writes in, subject Eric Volume. Mike, thanks for getting back to the podcast. I hope you are feeling better. Number 1445 is almost not listenable. Eric is leaning back in the chair about 6 feet from the mic. He spelled Mike, M-I-K-E.
So
it goes to his credibility a little bit, but we'll let it slide. It sits back 6 feet from the mic. It sounds like he is in a well, in a tin can, in the cellar, in the trunk of his car. Please get it fixed. Thanks, Mark.
I could have seen if he said that for 1444, but the last one, I was told I think I did way more of an effort to sit up here. I don't know if he thinks of if he's thinking of the episode prior, but.
Well, in defense, 45 was rough around the edges. It started rough, although it posted okay. It was a rough show. We're getting through it. We have a plan. Go ahead, Mike.
Well, plus I have a mic coming.
You do have a mic coming. I sent you and a camera, so hopefully we get a little bit better picture for you. And the mic is a professional blue, so it should be good. Should sound way better. You should have that by Monday or Tuesday. Little more info on this email from Mark though. And if this helps at all, this was sent Thursday at 1:16 in the morning.
Okay.
So if he's nitpicking and bitching about the production that's going on here, and in specific you, at 1:16 in the morning, is it safe to say he's 3 sheets to the wind, at least 2 sheets to the wind?
That's when I send my best emails.
Yeah. Usually when I get emails from people that are like, you fucking suck, or you're a piece of shit, or he's a piece of shit, blah, 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 blah. And then I get an email follow up like, hey, man, I'm sorry. I was a little harsh when I said that. I love you guys, blah, blah, blah. I immediately look at the timestamps. And sure as shit, 9 times out of 10, those first emails are sent at 3 in the morning, 2, 3. It's never at noon on a Wednesday. Right. It's always after 1 a.m. So Mark's in that sweet spot. He's in that gray area where he might have just been up late. Maybe he was crushing it with his wife, till after 1, and then he felt the need to send this email.
Retool.
But 1:60, retool perhaps. Take a quick breather. Hold on, honey. I'll be back in a second.
Let me fire off a quick email to the.
Gotta get back. Email really quick. I don't know what Mark Reinhardt's deal is. I don't know what his daily is like. So it could have been he's halfway through crushing it with his wife, and he's like, shit. I meant to send that email. Blast an E for his levels. I'm gonna send that off real quick. Grab a quick water, and then I'll be back up. Just limber up a little bit. Give you a chance to stretch your calves. We've all been there. But 1:16 in the morning, I'd like to hear more from him, and if he's man enough to admit he was shit-faced when he sent this. I did not have a problem with your levels, Ian. 1445. Doesn't sound like Travis did. We are biased, of course. But
It was better, I thought.
Yeah,
So I think he's full of shit.
From Mark, so.
Well, but see, the timing to me might mean that maybe he was right, but I think for the previous episode, I didn't know that it was as important at first to be, up here versus back here. Yeah,
Well,
so
radio,
maybe
radio for one for a second. He's got the worst situation you could possibly have. He has an aging laptop, we'll say, with a little microphone that sits on the top of the monitor, inside the monitor, and those things. I'm on conference calls all days. Those are horrible. So
yeah.
So we'll fix E up.
Yeah, well, he'll get fixed up sooner than later. It doesn't look that bad or sound that bad to me.
I've listened to most of both of them just because.
Mike, huh?
I listened back, and I mean, it's not perfect, but I didn't think it was as bad. Again, maybe he was watching the YouTube version, or the Facebook version. I don't know if that's worse or not, but because the other one comes
in the Daily Show when Trevor sends it to one of his guys and they're in their house. You're the guy in the house that doesn't have the totally pro grade setup.
What was that?
But it's not. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's a little blurrier. It's not quite as crisp. Your mic isn't as strong, but it's certainly not distracting. It's not like he's frozen every 2 seconds and choppy and.
Well, like I said, the first attempt
really took issue with you.
I really believe he meant the first one we did of these that we've done like this, because the first one I actually didn't realize, and I think I was sitting back here a little bit more. Yeah, and the one we did the last week.
Anyways, I don't know. I don't know.
Whatever.
Anyway,
I'm doing my best. God damn it.
Yeah, you are.
All we can ask.
I mean, look, this is
we were focused on
where I am
first.
God.
That's the best room in the house. Dude, why are you not on the back patio with a lake behind you?
Because you know what? I can try it the next time, but the internet's fast up here. I can try it, but the Wi-Fi won't reach us probably as well out there and stuff.
We'll give it a test.
We can try, because I'll do it.
Test, because you with these shit brown curtains. Can you replace those curtains behind you? They're hideous.
I know.
Shit brown curtains are just,
is that the rumpus room at the Kennedys?
Yeah.
No,
what is
this is an
attic.
upper stairs bedroom number 2.
Yeah. I mean, my room. Maybe I'll give you guys a tour of mine. I'm shitting on you while I have shutters behind.
This is the bed I sleep in right here.
Do I have the best background? You might have the best setup right now.
Les Paul in the background. Of course you have the best background.
It's fake. It's fake.
It's not fake. See, mine is that jet black?
Yes.
Yeah, mine was jet black, but I didn't have a white pick guard. Mine was just black.
Yeah, that's a kind of a unique one. Yeah, actually, and the pickups are kind of unique as well. I don't see very many of those.
Really?
So
yeah, it's beautiful. I want to play that someday.
It weighs as much as I do, but yeah.
Well, I can test it.
Dude, people don't know that. A Les Paul is heavy as shit. Oh. They're super heavy.
I can test it with Travis next time, and if so, then I'll definitely do it.
That would be a cool background. Yeah.
Yeah, you have a little Corona beer. Wink,
the anal in the background.
Anal in the background. Hell yeah. So, or we could get you out on the water, maybe in the catamaran or whatever. They have a paddle boat. You could just be pedaling along.
They have a pontoon boat, but it's not freaking unplastic yet. Maybe I should call the guys and have
nothing but time. Nothing but
time. Yeah, you can figure that out. You got all day.
I'll walk you through it.
All right, let's get out of here, you guys. Thanks for everything you've done. I know it's getting late there in Detroit. Miss you guys. But yeah, Travis, thank you for everything. Thank your wife, Jen, for me as well. Thank you to A.
It's getting better. It's getting easier.
Yes, it is, and we'll do it in the next couple of days. Why don't we wait till Tuesday, maybe when you have your mic, we can test that.
Yeah.
And try and pop back on then. See if we can't make it as good as we can. Thank you to the Arizona crew out here, Don and Tyler, and my crew, Steve and G, and all those guys making this possible. We really appreciate it. Continue to send emails if you want. You can ask us whatever you want. About anything. Let us know how you guys are doing through Corona. If you buy it, if you think it's bullshit, give us your thoughts on anything.
Eric, I'll tell you this, dude.
Shut the fuck up, E. Let me finish the fuck. Eric at DetroitCast.com, Walters at DetroitCast.com, or email at DetroitCast.com, and we'll get one for you too, Trav. Now, E, please.
Whether it's bullshit or not, dude, we've had listeners already that have had it, and some of the stories have sounded pretty crazy, man. So
What do you mean? How do you mean?
Dude,
if you get it,
they're-
it's tough.
Yeah, it's one of these things. Like I think that it's bullshit as far as the numbers, but you don't want to get it. It sounds like because I know
we don't want the flu either. I mean,
the flu doesn't make you sit there for 4 straight days when you're literally can't even breathe almost, and you don't know what to do about it because they don't even want you there. So
you mean like me for the last 3 months?
Yeah, you probably had it for 3 months.
Yeah,
I thought about that,
dude. I know what it's like to be able to take one step and then be gassed. It's fucking brutal.
This was worse than that. I had a listener reaching out to me that it was worse than that. It was like literally.
Write us about it.
Yeah.
Tell us to write in about what it was like. I'd love to.
Okay.
Maybe get on.
If anyone's had it, I know we have listeners that have had coronavirus. Email in. I talked to MLL Worker the other day, and he got it kind of mild. His wife was worse than him, but he was telling me how bad it sucked, and he didn't have the breathing issues though.
Right.
Telling me that he didn't. His was. He luckily didn't have that. He said that would have been the worst, not been able to breathe. So
that's the key. If you don't get the breathing issues, then it's kind of just the flu. If you get the breathing issues, it sounds very bad.
And the flu sucks, especially when you're a baby, and I'm a baby. The flu blows when you're a baby. So, all right, guys, thank you for everything. Get on with your nights. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Please send some emails in. I'd love to read some more of them. And we'll talk